Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Committed Critics, a pop culture podcast where I'm not only committed to our opinions, but also each other. Aww. I'm Kevin Lau.
I'm Ryan Davis.
And I'm Jordan Smearman. Zach's not here.
He's not, which means he cannot defend his opinions, his wrong opinions, I should say, about our topic today. Today we're talking about Jaws, the movie I challenged you guys all to watch. It came out in 1975, directed by Steven Spielberg. It was considered to be the first summer blockbuster movie that started the whole trend of releasing big movies in the summer. Yeah, so I mean, overall, what are your guys' thoughts on Jaws? Jordan, you want to start us out?
Sure. So I'll do my thoughts first. Zach did write his thoughts or type his thoughts in this document, so I will read them for him as well. But I'll start with mine
him too.
No. So I've seen clips of certain scenes in this, like in a film studies class of Jaws, like the Bad Hat Harry scene. I've seen that a lot. I've seen actually the what was it, SS Indianapolis. I've seen that scene a lot. Actually in a theater class when we were talking about monologues. So I've seen a few scenes, but I've never actually watched Jaws all the way through. And I'm sorry, Kevin, I gotta say I was a little underwhelmed by it. The effects were good. I did like the little editing tricks. But you know, we were talking about this before that I'm so confused as to how you can tell this film was directed well. Or versus like what the director does versus what the actor like chooses to do. I don't know. I'm confused by that. But yeah, we can get into that a little bit later.
A little bit of Film 101 coming right up.
Yes, please, because I did switch majors before I really got into any of that.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. So for Zach, he said, and I quote directly, definitely was a hit back when it was released. It holds up in terms of practical effects. The shark still looks amazing for what it is. The character interactions are great and the direction is phenomenal. However, the pacing doesn't fit into the modern era. It is super slow and a super slow burn. 4 out of 5. Oh, he was the only one that ranked it. Oops.
Oh, I mean, I give it a 5 out of 5, but
okay.
We'll talk about Zach's wrong opinions later on. No, it's fine. But yeah, Ryan, what's your overall thoughts on Jaws?
I mean, it's a fun movie. Like, I don't have it. Like, I don't look at it like the whole direction or the pace. I'm just like, this is fun. It's a 70s movie. So I expect it to not I don't expect it to be fast. I don't expect it to be slow. I'm like, this is the perfect length for what I imagine a 70s movie to be. So I'm like, this is fun. I'm enjoying it. People in the movie are stupid, yes, but I mean,
oh, of course.
You wouldn't have a movie if people weren't stupid.
I mean, it basically, well, I mean, it didn't predict it, but it's like, it just shows that like how people reacted to COVID-19, especially in Florida. It's basically that, but like, it shows that like, people have always been this stupid.
Yeah, and I'm like, the only problem I have with the movie is that the ending is a bit abrupt, and I'll get on that a little bit later. But
yeah, I mean, classic Hollywood ending.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, well, that was a fun time. And I know, because Zach says it's very slow, and I'm like, this is less than 2 hours. Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War are longer than that.
The Batman is longer.
The Batman is longer.
The Batman is actually slow.
He says it doesn't fit. He says it doesn't fit into the modern era. The modern era is a 2.5 hour movie, maybe 3.
I mean, it's also not fair to say that like the techniques of an older film does not fit into the modern era, because the modern era is built on these older films and like sort of like remix the technical aspects of it. So I don't think it's a fair critique. Especially since the Jaws is part of one of the films that ushered in different editing styles to create a more seamless experience. But anyways, enough about Zach's wrong opinions.
What did you think about it, Kevin?
Man, I absolutely loved it. I also watched clips of it when I was studying film, and I was like, I don't know, it's like it kind of boring from the clips. It's like maybe just another shark movie or something like that. So oh, maybe this is like the shark movie. It's like the original one. But but I didn't get around to watching the film until like a month into like quarantine. It was just one of the movies. I was like, all right, I'll finally watch this, and I absolutely loved it. It was so much better than I thought it was going to be, and I've watched it I've seen it 3 more times since, and like it gets better every time. It's I'm very surprised how much I loved it, but it is legitimately a fantastic movie. I think that stands the test of time. Every time someone asked me, is like, oh, I was like, I want to get into directing or like want to learn more about film. It's like, you have to watch Jaws. It is like quintessential filmmaking movie. But yeah,
what's going off of that?
Yeah,
explain directing, please.
Okay. So directing, similar to if so, you said you know about theater stage directing. It's more or less the same when it's translated to film. You're in charge of the blocking of the actors. You are in charge of telling the actors like how to act, like, and giving them more, like, obviously there's collaboration between actor and director. Actor brings their own things to the table, and director kind of like, you know, directs them into like the direction that they need to go. But ultimately, in the bigger picture of the movie, the director is in charge of the vision and the emotional core of the film, and making sure that there is like that emotional continuity from scene to scene. That everything that happens is character motivated, and that the story is cohesive, which I think Steven Spielberg does a great job with that in Jaws, where every time a character moves, like it is really character motivated. Like, you can tell what the character wants and what their obstacles are just by moving across the frame or moving closer to camera or further from camera. And then also like the shot of them going out in the boat and through the jaws of a shark. Like that's a directing decision where it's like giving an ominous, giving an omen to the audience. Like, hey, not everyone's going to make it out okay. You know, so something's looming and out there in the waters. And so it's a lot of those decisions, both minuscule and in the grand scheme of things, that Spielberg, I think, does really well in this movie, and I consider it to be one of his best as well. And also, like, the direction is about visual storytelling. Like, if you turn the movie on mute, you can still understand the basic concept of the story just by watching the visuals alone. Yes, a great director does this. Not all directors do this, because a lot of directors, and then maybe just corporate films in general, they just, like, you know, they have dialogue tell the story instead of the visuals, which is, you know, telling instead of showing. And, you know, when a story is explained through dialogue, it's a little bit more boring than seeing it happen in real time. But yeah, that's essentially what directing is. It's not as cool as film snobs may make it sound like. Anyone who says that they just want to direct does not know what directing actually does. It is kind of hard to really explain how directing works without having you go on a set and watch a good director do their job. You also see how a set works when a bad director doesn't do their job. Like I've been on all over the place on those productions, and there's definitely, the director doesn't have as much control as you think, because a lot of like the director of photography is in charge of the cinematography, the look of it, and a lot of times they have control over that. The gaffer's in charge of the lighting. The assistant director is in charge of making sure everyone's on time and all that stuff. The director is the creative one that just has the vision. The director is holding the paintbrush, and then everyone else on the crew is the brush. And obviously there's a collaborative element when you're with good directors. When you're with bad directors, they think they're, you know, the hot shot and don't allow collaboration, and that hurts the film in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes more sense. I wish we would have had this talk before I watched this movie so I could look out for this.
I mean, now you can just watch the movie again and have a whole new appreciation for it.
Oh gosh.
Maybe.
Okay.
Or you can watch Alfred Hitchcock's Notorious, which is also really well directed. which Alfred Hitchcock is a huge inspiration for Spielberg, and you can tell that in Jaws, like a lot of Hitchcock shots, like the reaction shots, the push-pull effect.
I did notice that. With some of the few Hitchcock films that I've seen.
Yeah. There's also like Jaws was also like kind of like started the whole like horror film structure where like the cold open starts with someone dying from the creature, and then the rest of the movie focuses on different characters finding this creature and trying to kill it. So like
and everyone is too.
Yeah, the horror movie genre was basically like is built off of Jaws' story structure.
And everyone is stupid.
Yeah, exactly. But it works in the themes of this movie. But yeah, diving a little bit into spoilers, what is one thing you liked, Ryan?
Well, I mean, I like kind of the bros just being bros throughout the movie, mainly Hooper and Brody, but even when Quint, like, I just enjoy that camaraderie that they had throughout the whole movie, because it is just like they're just chasing down a shark. Like there's nothing special about it. That's most of what the movie is, because otherwise the rest of the movie is just people at a beach getting murdered. But
you gotta feel
that's
for
pretty
them.
much right. I'm sorry, I'm not all the technical stuff like with it, because I didn't recognize it. It was just like, all right,
no,
they're on a boat.
Totally fine.
That's okay.
They're on a boat and they need a bigger one. What about you, Jordan? Or I guess you could say Zach's.
Yeah, because I kind of build off of what he said. So Zach said the effects and use of music still hold up exceptionally well. Utilizing the tension, music, and silence to avoid seeing the shark is expertly done.
I guess crafted, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what he said. So similar to what Zach said, I did like the effects. And of course, the score is iconic. Like, I don't think you can talk about a score without mentioning Jaws. But of course, like on top of the directing and editing and things like that. But like the score, we all know it.
You've
the
seen
jump
it.
scares you've seen it, you've heard it. Like, so the jump scares got me every time, even if I knew they were coming. Like, I've seen the ending of Jaws before I watched the movie. In its entirety. Like, I've seen the ending. I've seen almost, I guess, yeah, I've seen not like the complete, like probably after, gosh, what's his name? The one guy dies. After he dies in the boat. I've seen the rest of that, like up to that and stuff. So there were like some scares that got me earlier in the movie, but then right there too. Like I knew how it ended. I was kind of waiting for it too. So, but somehow I still got scared.
Well, that's fair. Hey man, that means the movie still works.
Exactly. Yeah. So I do think that was good. And like we kind of already said, like it's definitely held up well for it being made almost 50 years ago.
Well, yeah, it is almost 50 years.
Wow. 47.
Yeah. Can't wait to watch it on its. I wonder what they're going to do for their 50th anniversary edition. It's gonna be
I'm assuming they'll release it in theaters, right? Like movie theaters have been doing that recently.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I would love to see this in theaters again. Well, not again. I've just seen it in theaters in general. I haven't seen it in theaters yet. I don't know why I said again. I just watched it so many times.
Kevin, how old are you really?
A million. But yeah, so the one thing I liked, we kind of already talked about, the direction. Absolutely loved it. It's fantastic. I want, Steven Spielberg really showed off his chops in this one. This was the one that really put him on the map. And I'm glad that he got a lot of great work since, like Indiana Jones and everything he did. E.T. He's got a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, because you can just map out what everyone wants, what their obstacles are, just purely on visuals alone, and just that's what movies are. They're visuals, and that's super important. And yes, audio is even more important. But if you can watch a movie without audio and still understand the movie, that's good direction. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about one thing that we don't like and our final thoughts on Jaws. See you in a bit.
Hey everybody, my name is Jordan, and you've probably heard me on an episode or two, but did you know I also have a baking channel? Bluebell Bake is by the amateur baker for the amateur baker. On the channel, I'll be posting recipes, tips and tricks, and more so we can all learn to better our baking skills. You can find my channel on YouTube at Bluebell Bake, we're currently posting monthly, or on Instagram and TikTok, both at bluebell.bake. Come join our little community where no matter what happens, we keep on baking.
Don't you wish there was a pop culture review site that appealed to cinephiles, both professional and casual? Well, look no further than crpwrites.com. New content such as movie and TV reviews, film essays, and more are released every week by writers who crave for movies like every moviegoer craves for popcorn. CRP Writes is dedicated to making sure no one is wasting time or money where they shouldn't be. After all, you have to be able to buy your popcorn and eat it too. crpwrites.com. Casual reviews with purpose since 2018.
Hi, welcome back to Committed Critics as we continue to talk about Jaws and one thing we didn't like or doesn't quite hold up. Jordan, you want to kick us off?
Sure. I'll do my thoughts and then we can do Zach's, or we can save Zach's for the end so you can rebuttal. But
Okay.
One thing I didn't really like, I kind of found it boring.
Oh no.
There were times when either Zach or I had to get up to do something, so we would pause it, and then we would be shocked by how much time was left. Like, I guess I didn't realize that they were on the orca for as long as they were in the movie, and I don't know. Like, also, I understand the horror aspect of it, and I understand we couldn't see the shark as much, but I did want to see more of the shark. It's called Jaws, you know, the poster has a huge ass shark on it, and we didn't really see the shark until the end. And I get it's supposed to be an element of mystery, but I don't know. I really wanted to see him. And it was like a practical effects thing, or it wasn't in their budget to keep the shark like there as much as possible. But I don't know.
Yeah, I figured that's
the
what
special effects team would be so angry at that because
I know.
Because the reason why the shark isn't shown as often because it didn't work. It looked fake.
Oh, right.
We were supposed to see like the full shark most of the time, but like it wasn't working. And so like they had to do workarounds like, okay, what if we just barely show a little bit of it? And then and it worked out in the end. But like, yeah, that was a creative decision out of necessity they had to do. Okay.
So kind of going off of that, I remember, I think it was during a Shark Week one year, they had a whole like documentary based on the creation of Jaws, and I watched it with my family. And now that you said that, it triggered something saying like, oh, I forgot that they mentioned that the shark didn't work most of the time. So
yeah, everyone was ready to kill each other in that movie.
Yeah, I will take back my comment. Like I understand things don't always work out with movie sets. So I
worked on a shark movie. That shark didn't work either. I don't know.
How was that, Kevin?
How was the shark movie?
Yes, how was working on that? It's
a nightmare.
Oh no.
That was worse than Jaws. Sean,
isn't that why you want to destroy North Carolina?
No. North Carolina is different. No,
shark movies are just cursed. No, that's what it is.
No, the shark movie I worked on was just in my hometown on Shawano Lake, on handmade 12x12 docks that were like ready to sink by the end of the movie. Oh man, that's a story. Should be coming out later this year though, according to the director. Apparently, the reason why the movie took so long to come out is that it needed 3 times more visual effects than planned. So I'm ready. I'm ready to see this final product. Anyways, what's Zach's opinion?
Okay, Zach said, again, direct quotes, man, this movie feels long and in not a good way. Like, I almost want to dock it half a point because I found myself bored halfway through. The pacing of this movie wouldn't hold up in today's standards. We kind of already talked about that. Yeah. Our minds and attention spans as a culture wouldn't be entertained in this way today. After the beach scene where the boy got until they board the orca is boring as hell. Everything else is good though.
Interesting. Because I always go by like the thought of like no good movie is too long and no bad movie is short enough. So like as long as the movie kind of like hits it, nails the ending, it's more forgiving about like the pacing issues in the middle. But I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting to hear that like people think Jaws is too long, because I feel like it's all those scenes are necessary to build the world and the characters to make you care for them, and make its story like really cohesive, that you can like there's no like you cannot poke holes in the plot essentially. And yeah, no, I mean it's interesting.
See, I argue on that our attention span as a culture won't be entertained in this way, because I'm like, okay, I could say that about any movie that wasn't a superhero or action movie.
I don't know.
Something ain't happening.
I don't know about attention spans as a culture, but it's more because it's more like it's influenced by corporate movies. Like corporate movies, well, for the longest time were like, strictly 90 minutes, or like especially Netflix movies now, strictly 90 minutes, or the whole like binge culture of like, watching a 13-hour movie, but like in 1 hour chunks. So like makes you think you're not wasting time. And then like now corporate movies are getting longer, especially superhero movies. But I think it's more like we were trained to watch short movies in our as when we were kids, because in 2000s that was it, those short movies. And then now like movies are getting longer, getting closer to how they were in the 80s and 70s. Taking a lot of inspiration from them too. So I don't know, maybe I don't know if it's a culture thing or like the way the culture was trained through media. It's a weird, like it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg situation. So yeah, we'll see how that develops over time. I don't know, there's a weird tangent, but food for thought. What about you, Ryan? What's one thing you didn't like?
It's like two small things and one large thing. The large thing is that the movie ends very abruptly. There's not really a wrap up. It's just, woohoo, the shark is dead. Let's go home. And I'm like, I know it's supposed to have that kind of right off to the sunset feel, but I'm like, I need a wrap up. I need to know how everyone deals with this. I need to know that the mayor is fired or dead or something, because he got him under, because he's like, oh, we need to keep the beaches open. We need to make money. I'm like, screw it. I mean, yeah, you can make money off all the funerals you're going to have.
Florida during COVID-19. That's all you got to say.
Yeah.
I mean, really, yeah. Like, and I'm just like, y'all let the shark. And then the woman who's like, it's your fault my son is dead. I'm like, no, it's not. It's your fault. Don't bring your kid to the beach when we say there's a possible shark loose. You dumbass.
It's social commentary. No. That's all it really is.
No, I'm just like, all I'm saying is people in here are stupid. It got on my nerves. I was like, I wanted most of them to get a comeuppance. I wanted the mayor to get eaten. Like the shark just pops out and just swallows the mayor on the dock or something. And then they're like, oh yeah, the shark is real or something like that. But it did end very abruptly for me. So I was like,
fair enough. Because in the credits, when the credits roll, you see them like swimming back to shore in the background. But I felt like that was like kind of like the resolution I needed, because it's like it's still classic Hollywood, where like as soon as the story is over, it's done. Like cut to credits, it's over. When like wrap ups didn't really happen until, let's see, I think the late 80s, early 90s, at least in movies. Because even Indiana Jones doesn't have wrap ups. You just kind of like the adventure's over and the movie ends. I mean, it's just kind of like, but no, it's just, I don't fault the movie for it. It's just kind of like, that's sort of like product of the time, I guess. Because that's also the movies that inspired Spielberg ended as well.
But it's like, at least Star Wars had an award ceremony, so you felt like there was some kind of conclusion.
Yeah, but like, that's like, Star Wars. That was 1978, I think, or 77. So a couple years after. But yeah,
I'm curious.
One thing I didn't like, not available. I don't dislike anything in this movie. So that's my opinion.
That's fair.
Yeah. On that note, let's go ahead and wrap it up with our final thoughts. Let's go ahead. You know what? Let's read Zach's right here. Zach says, Jaws is good. It was overhyped for me, so I'm not as high on it. That's fair, Zach. That's fair. I think Zach's gonna voice his own clips and then like stitch them in. But we'll see how.
I'm not sure if he's still going to do that or if he was just like, here, read what I have to say.
we have what he has to say as like a placeholder for him to stitch it in, and then like we'll leave it up to him. How about you, Jordan?
It's up to you, Zach. So my mom used to tell me that this movie made her afraid of the ocean when she was little. And I can understand why.
This was the first movie to do that for that generation.
Yeah. As I was watching it, I just felt more validated about my fear of what's in the ocean. Even, like we said, almost 50 years after its release. So props to everyone on this film for, again, validating that the ocean is terrifying.
Yeah, this was the movie that vilified sharks. And like the writer of the novel that the movie is based on, he felt so bad about it that he spent the rest of his life working in shark preservation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jordan, if this movie terrified you, don't watch The Meg.
Oh, okay. So
I feel like The Meg is like super unrealistic enough that it won't make you scared of the ocean.
Yeah,
that's what you think, and then all of a sudden, giant shark eats you.
To be honest, the one that did kind of get me was Soul Surfer when I was younger.
Oh my god, I know that movie.
I do too.
When the shark just comes up and bites off her arm, I was like, that can be a thing.
Nah, I mean, yeah, because that is based on a true story. But I mean, typically sharks leave people alone. But like when you're on a surfboard, you look like a seal, which looks like shark food. So
yeah, that's why I will never go surfing.
A lesson in don't be a surfer.
Don't be a surfer. You look like shark food.
Up.
Generally just don't watch Surf's Up.
That was ironic. Surf's Up is a great movie.
Nah,
it's got Shia LaBeouf and Jeff Bridges in it.
Nah, remains to be seen. Anyways, Ryan, what are your final thoughts?
On the opposite side of Jordan, I don't understand why my grandma ran out of the theater screaming bloody murder as she threw a popcorn in the air. But because it's a fun movie. My grandfather was very upset because he was like, well, there goes the money. But
oh, no.
There goes the $2 for the tickets back in 1975.
What a time.
Yeah, but he said like, yeah, that wasn't terrible. I should not have brought her on that date. Oh, well.
No. Hey, it worked out in the end, didn't it?
Yeah, it worked out in the end. Yeah, a whole 2 generations later. But also, just go watch The Meg if you want the Jaws, but like stupider. Just go watch The Meg. I'm gonna advertise that.
Wow, what a movie to advertise.
I
would recommend Psycho instead because like if you like how the tension is built in Jaws, definitely watch Psycho. It's a little bit older. It's not in color. It's not widescreen. But it's good.
Jordan, if you want a movie that makes you really scared about what could be in the water, go watch Pacific Rim.
I have seen Pacific Rim.
Kaiju's coming out of portals.
Hey, there was the water was on fire at one point, and I did think, all right, here we go. Let's do this.
Let's fucking go.
No, honestly, if I would just watch any like ocean nature documentary, that's what gets me. Because then I remember, like, we've only discovered, like 25% of creatures that live in the ocean.
How do you watch Finding Nemo then?
I loved Nemo, okay? Nemo's different.
It's about fish.
That's because it has Disney glasses on it.
No,
Bruce
it's Pixar.
Fish aren't friends. They are food.
Oh. I
mean, Nemo's iconic. Nemo? I will not stand for Nemo slander.
No, I mean, Nemo is really good. Finding Dory, however... it's all right.
No.
It's okay.
Haven't seen it still.
It's not worth your time.
Me too. No.
But yeah, so my final thoughts, Jaws, or as I like to call it, Florida versus COVID-19 if someone in a position of power actually cared. Anyways, I hope, like I said earlier, I hope I get to see this in theaters one days. And also, if you're interested in what some Jaws video games look like, check out Jaws Unleashed on Backlog Boogaloo. Jaws Unleashed is a PS2 era game where you play as Jaws.
No.
It's actually it's surprisingly fun. I really like it so far. By the time this episode's out, the whole series I would be done with the game, but it's not that bad.
Do you just go and kill people?
You go and kill people. You the first level after the tutorial, like you get caught and you get put into like a lab or a facility. You break out, like you grab a scientist who uses key card to get out of the lab, and then you basically ram your way into SeaWorld and fight a killer whale. And that's just the first level. You go around terrorizing the town, blowing up oil rigs. Basically, like, you're the hero of the story. You're against pollution. Jaws did nothing wrong. It's great.
Oh no.
And Jordan, you're choosing the next topic for us.
I am. So technically this is Zach's time to choose, but he's not here, so he gave his pick to me.
So do we technically skip Zach after this?
I don't know. We still have to figure that out. I don't know if my pick and his pick are now one, or if we each.
I think you guys can be separate.
Okay. Well then, yeah, we skip Zach. So we are going to be reading a comic series that is near and dear to my heart and introduced me to intersectional feminism, and it is called Bitch Planet.
Whoa! Can't say that on YouTube. Actually, maybe
I
you can. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. It is the title of it. I mean, I did a whole speech on it when in my advanced public speaking course in college, and it's the title of the work. So I kind of feel like, no, I did not actually. That speech made my teacher pull me aside after class and told me that I should either switch my major to communication studies or I should add it. And that's why I became a dual degree student in college. Interesting. Yeah. Well, I'm very excited.
I'm excited to read it. Do you have a pitch for us, or do you just want us to go in blind?
It's it is going to be a very intersectional feminist work, and it is very relevant to what is going on in our country right now.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no,
I love it.
I've known about it for a while, just haven't gotten around to reading it, so I'm excited to finally do it.
Haha.
There's you said it's only 2 volumes, so just read those 2 volumes.
Yes. Yep. There is like technically it's like 2.5. There's one that has a bunch of side stories, but I haven't even read that one. So if we just do the 2 volumes, we should be fine.
Gotcha. All right. On that note, if you want to hear the rest of our thoughts on other topics, tune into our full episode over on Patreon. Link to that below is in the description. Just $5 a month. We'll give you access to all those extra episodes that we've been doing. You can follow us on Twitter at Committed Crits. That's COMMITTED0ITS. YouTube at Committed Critics, spelled the same there as here everywhere else. TikTok at Committed Critics, all one word there. And special thanks to our current patrons: Davey Peppers from Game Mechanics, Ryan Kowalkowski from Ryan Plays Drums, Andy Phillips from Andy Phillips, Jody Wright, and Devin Vonderhyde. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.